hair was up pretty tight when I was washing my face. And I started to take it down. It was really tight. I was like, fuck, I'll just leave it. See how long it lasts. So I just start followed over to the side. Always when I put like a bun up or something and I'll start doing stuff. Hardly ever does it stay in tight. It's always starts falling off. I'll be doing stuff outside and my bun's over here. Never stays up. But there was a few things that I wanted to talk about. I barely even went on TikTok yesterday. I can't even, I know it's whatever they're doing to mine, so it's doing it to other ones. And so when you go on, it's just a lot of filler of just a bunch of nonsense and stuff. And I swear to God, you watch one for 1 second and then they send you 100 of the same one. It's like, ugh, I don't even know how they do it so damn fast. You watch one recipe that looks interesting and then you get like zillion recipes all day long. And then there's so many that look good, it's hard not to watch them. It's like, that's not what I'm here for. So I just will go and put it up and hope that when I come back that it switches. And but I just, like, I'll go on, it's all like, I saw all these videos 3 days ago. Like, and I don't understand how, when there's billions of videos, how I just get to see the same ones all the time. And it's the same people. 200 people get to see my videos. It's like, what in the holy hell? This is so ridiculous. Especially if almost 30,000 people want to see your videos and only 200 get to see them. Like, what in the holy hell are you? So that kind of stuff is frustrating. And today, I think because the YouTube kind of gave a little jolt and then gave another little jolt because the first jolt it dropped. And then I was like, okay, so what's going on? Then there was another one, then it dropped. And so then it's like, fuck, this is just nonstop of feeling like it's like you're on a treadmill. You're trying to get somewhere. You never get there. It's like you just keep going and going and going and never get there, It's like, oh my gosh. And it's frustrating. The reason I'm talking about it is just because to kind of explain like the frustrations and stuff that I go through and how I keep myself kind of more not get down, not give up, the resilience part. And so that's why I'm explaining like what my thing about that is, because that is hard to keep going when you aren't getting anywhere, when you put out videos and nobody gets to see them and stuff. And it's frustrating, especially when your feedback is always like, the people appreciate it. So I know it's being censored because of that, because it's different than the common trend of the shallow stuff that people talk about. It's looking deeper, and they don't want people to go deeper. So any of us weirdos out there trying to get people to look at things deeper, look at them from other ways or more perspectives, that they want to close us down. But the energy is going to switch. I mean, it's not going to be able to stay. And then it will be, a whole lot of people like me talking about the stuff that I talk about. But so I know that I'm not the only one. There's got to be a bunch. And the way I'm being censored, it just only makes sense that they're having the same treatment. But it's very frustrating. And then, and so on the YouTube one, like, I don't know, because I've never got to just build my account without their hand and everything. Since Twitter. And Twitter, see, when I was building up, because that was my first account that started building up. And then I know my Instagram one too. My Instagram one built up. But that was back when I was married, and my husband was in this bearded villains. And so I had tons of people on my Instagram. But then when I went on to Twitter, my account just built up. And each time that's ever built up, it's never, when it does it, it doesn't just like stop. It will just build. And then, it will kind of go a little, and then a little, it kind of, I don't know, it seems like a more natural way than, you know, all of a sudden you get a bunch of views and it stops like mid in a thing. You know, like when you get 1,400 views in 2 days and then not any after that, not even one or two or three. That's what happens. Like a video will just stop, and then it somehow will stop them all. And so, I don't know, you know, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating, you know, to keep going and get up, and when you feel like you're just going on this treadmill and not making any, you're not moving anywhere. And it's frustrating, especially, you know, it's like, it adds to the, well, mom's so crazy. What does she think? She's going to get a couple people on YouTube that'll listen to her talk crazy, and they're crazy too. So let's just pretend like mom's not doing that. And so it's kind of like, you know, we all of us want that vindication, and all of us want the light to be shown on us as we're not what we were been said that we were. You know, we all want to be seen for who we are. And these people have a real problem seeing anything because they see through these lenses, as many lenses as they've put on for themselves through this controlled reality of, it's like controlled perspective, your controlled view of the world. And so, and there's multiple lenses. Like I said, man, I've heard people introduce themselves in a video, and they will use like, I don't know, 20 diagnoses and all this stuff as a part of their identity of who they are. And so all these lenses that they have to look through the world to see. And so then all of that has to be processed. And you see why people just become reactive. Like, Jesus Christ, you're going to go through every single thing. Well, how would they look at it? What, you know? So they just are reactive to things. It just is abrupt. And that is the trigger words and stuff like they put it out in society. And we can watch. I mean, they're doing these things right before our eyes, and they're messing with the language and stuff. It's so, it gets in our head. It was already like leaked out into the public, and then they started doing it right in front of us, and it starts becoming more clear. It starts becoming more imprinted into the mind. And yesterday, because this was one too I wanted to explain, because or the other day when I went to the store, and I had these honeys, and I wanted to go to the grocery outlet. I love the grocery outlet. You can get the it's like I don't know, Whole Foods outlet store or something. So you get like expensive brands, but they're marked down, like they got a sell or something. I don't know. But so it's not consistent all the time. Like you don't always find the same things. And so that's the thing. But I'm much more of go with what's there kind of person. Like same as with the food bank. Like, what am I going to eat this week? Well, we'll go see. And so, like I have my basic stuff that I'm going to get. But anyways, so that's just like my own approach. But when I went up there to get the honey, because I had these big jars of honey, and this one was this butter stuff, which I'm in love with this stuff now. And so I wanted to get some more of those while I was in town. And they were like 10 or 11 bucks each. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to spend I'll spend over $30 on honey. Hell yeah. So I went in, and then there was only a couple of really small ones. There wasn't these big ones that I like, and there was none of that honey butter stuff. And I was like, damn it. I don't know if it's called honey butter, but it's like a butter kind of, but it's honey. It's real thick and creamy. It's really good. And so I was like, damn it. But in my head, I was like, well, I really need to get local honey. And you can get local honey from around here. And I swear to God, I think I even pictured it in my head. Because when I see it, I can see it in my head. But so then I went out, paid for myself and all that drama with, and I kept saying, as soon as my card thing, I said, well, can't you just run it old fashioned way? Can't you just write down the card number and run it? And all you do is like go across the little machine thing. And all they need is your card number and all the numbers on the back. I mean, we put them in computers and shit. to buy things online. And so none of the employees knew what the hell to do. First, they called in managers out of their offices to come, and they're all scrambling. So you got every cashier and every manager scrambling from register to register. You know, all the people stacking up and all the people standing there with all their stuff that they've tried to pay. And so then the owner came down, and I said to him too, I thought he was one of the managers, and I just said, can we just run it the old-fashioned way? And so then he goes, yeah, we can do that. And so he wrote down my stuff, and I just left. So I saw more people coming out, so that's probably what they started more doing. And maybe some of the registers were coming up and stuff. But anyways, so when I left there, and I started driving home, and I was just feeling like I was really having a good day. Oh, I even stopped at the thrift store, and I wanted to get some yarn for these hats, to make these hats. And so they had all these really colorful yarns, so exactly what I had wanted. And even when I was picturing what I wanted before I went, I even told, because you got to think of, this is the universal consciousness. You're speaking to this brain consciousness that is running everything, and it like sees all. And so people think of it as God, but it's all of us that go together. It's all of our energy. It's not an individual separate from us. We are the parts of that energy. And so it's a misconception to think of a God that is over us, that is judging us and stuff like that. It's something that holds you back. That's why it's like a primitive way of looking at things, because it holds you back. But so I even told, I'm always talking through telepathy. So when I'm saying I talked or told, sometimes I say stuff out loud, but normally I've just been, since I was young, talking through telepathy to them. I sit there and talk to them while people are sitting right there, and sit there and tell me things about other people. Sometimes they'll laugh, right? And nobody know why. I was just like, oh, just said something funny. And, people think, that I'm a nut. And so, but I told them, well, the colors that she wants in the hat, so just put those colors there. And so I'm curious to see like how she feels about these colors when I take the, I'm going to try and do a bunch of granny squares and take them and let her pick, but I'm curious to see what she's going to say about the colors. But anyways, and I've made so much progress on the hats, I can't even believe it. But my problem is when I start doing something that I'm creating, I'll just sink into it. It's like I have a hard time, even when I'm telling myself, and Stella's up in my face, I still have this grip inside of me that has a really hard time to stop. It usually is my hands, and I think it's probably that's why. It's like I have to have my hands start hurting so I will stop and get up and do something and stop my mind, because I kind of feel like when you think about the awakening and the different parts that people go through, think of it as like gear shifting. Like you can't skip the gear. You jack up the whole way it moves. You got to have the gears got to shift. You got to take each step. So anyways, I got a bunch of yarn, and I found another cute dress. I really like dresses, and I found a cute dress I'm going to give to my granddaughter for her birthday is tomorrow. So this is the 23rd. So there should be some good stuff that should happen today. It's Friday. That was in the X-Files, I keep on saying about Friday. That's what they put in the X-Files show. Was it happened on a Friday. The banks went down. People didn't know over the weekend. You can look it up. That clip's everywhere. And then there was, it seems like there was other things I heard, but people could still all be basing on that. But that's, anyways, what they're in their own disclosure has said. That it would be a Friday when things would change, but we wouldn't know what was going on. But there's so many signs, like I don't know how you couldn't see it. And so, but I got to finish the store. So when I was driving back, and then I passed by this little food truck guy, and I like to stop this little Mexican guy, and he has this little, I mean, it's not very fancy, it's kind of rickety, but he doesn't speak good English or anything, but it's his business, man. And now I swear to God, you go up and you get your $10 burrito. It is huge. Me and Stella ate it for 2 days. We split half of it the day before, and we split half of it yesterday. It was a big ass burrito for $10. And he gets so excited over a tip, man. He even told me to come back. But I've stopped at his a couple times, and he makes really good burritos. So I was driving him, and then, I hadn't eaten all day, and I was like, well, hey, maybe I'll stop and get a burrito. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to support this guy. So I turn around, go get my burrito, and he got so excited over his tip and told me to come back the next day. And then, so I headed back, kept going, and then the little farmer's market thing was there. And that was the thing that I kind of pictured in the grocery store about the honey. And, but I wasn't even thinking about the honey when I saw this little farmer's market. I just thought, oh, I got to stop here. I got cash. But I think they take cards too. But I was like, I got to stop here because I got to support the local farmers. And so I got to buy something, even though there's not very much stuff in there. It was a lot of kales and stuff like that. But I got some apricots and cherries and strawberry. Oh my God, the strawberries were tiny, tiny. But oh my gosh, they were really, really sweet. So much more flavor. And so when I got up there to pay, there was some honey sitting there. And, I'm telling you, they always give you what you want. And so there was 2 different sizes. And so then I was like, oh, is this local? And she said, oh, yeah, that's local, honey. And I said, well, what's the price of that? And she said that the one, I don't know, it was like $15 for the small mason jar. The regular small one, not one of the fancy weird shaped ones. And then 25 for the large one. And so I got the large one, and I was like, okay, cool. So I got some local honey. And because my guides had told me that it's really important to get the local honey, because I eat a lot of honey, but they told me to get a lot of the local honey, because just as they keep showing, and this is what I try and say, is they plant seeds along the way. So you have reference. So then when they tell you something, you're like, oh yeah, okay. And so, somebody like my daughter or something, she could be thinking she's putting together all the pieces. Somehow her brain is magically over here putting together pieces while she's over here functioning over here. I acknowledge that there's a higher force that is in and I talk to it like there's a separate being. And so I acknowledge it. I have conversations. And if it's my more advanced self, it's not me. Just as people have to talk to their baby self to heal, it's the same thing. And so, anyways, but the honey, so just like when people in their yards, like in your yard, whatever your ailment is, the earth knows, and it picks up on the vibration of you and your ailment, and then the plants that you need for your ailments will start growing in your yard and you're around you. I think that's probably even a part of why, because everything is to cut us off from our true self. And I think it's probably partly why they want that you will own nothing, because it's the tending. It's not about ownership. It's about the harmony, the tending your area, taking care of it and taking care of you. So it's the working in harmony with your place. And that's what I talk about also with environmental, with your DNA, and what your DNA has consumed through its different incarnations to create itself, to sustain itself. And so in the different areas, you have different things that it has sustained itself from before. And so you take those things and you take them and you eat those things that are local to you. And there can also be things that aren't just local in your own yard, but local to your area. And I think in my reference is something about Dr. Gundry. It was something in one of his books, I think, where he had talked about something about the food that grows locally to one's environment it matches what the person, it matches like the cycles, like it all matches. I don't know how else to say it, all matches. But that is like how they want us to buy food from, buy bananas from Chile, buy grapes from India. You know, they want us to buy all this stuff from all over the place, and they want to shuffle it around and move it around, and they want to give it a little spray here, a little spray there. And that is because it upsets our whole entire cycle, which upsets our whole entire psyche. And so the eating your food from your natural growth area is more productive to your health. And so when you're trying to work on your health, is go to your local farmers markets and stuff. But also, like, I'm one of my I have 2 beds, I think, that I'm doing this, and I'm letting them just do their own thing. And I've got a bunch of stuff growing, and I don't know what it is at all yet, so I'm just gonna see like what grows. And it's kind of like I'm letting them show me what I need. And then I'm going to go out and take pictures. Like on an iPhone, you can take pictures of the plant. And then if you pull the picture up, it will tell you what it is. And if it doesn't give enough details about it, the health of it or whatever, then I can go in and Google it. But a lot of people have noticed, I definitely noticed the Google search and interference and stuff. Like you go look at something and you pull up, they put interference, so you can't find what you want. So you got to go through a million things. And so anyways, but you know, everything is to interfere with us and stuff. And so with the honey thing though, they told me that really gives you the things while you're taking honey for the antibody, all that stuff. It really gives you what you need because it knows locally what is missing or what is being attacked or whatever. And I did a little video yesterday about that on my TikTok, and all the comments were people saying, yeah, it's really important to buy local honey because of like, I don't know how some of the people said I explained it right. But it's like I can see it and I can understand it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I can explain it in the way that is the most understandable. Like, so it's good to go and look it up. But there's all these different people were saying it will help your allergies. And so, you know, I mean, anytime somebody talks to me about allergies, then I know they're not on my level. And it's not in a mean way. It's just that they haven't gone out of that perspective of, they haven't reached the impactful understanding of when you realize the environmental and toxins that you are consuming. And I just saw a doctor who was saying the number one thing that causes cancer is our environment, the toxins, but added is the sugar in it, and it's what and so they put sugar in everything. I mean, that's one of the big taste flavor things too. When you go and you make food from like a box or whatever, it's got a lot of sweeteners, corn syrup, palm oils, and all sorts of shit. So when you cook stuff at home, that it doesn't have all those flavors. It doesn't have, and so I think a lot of people, they cook something and then they think, well, I don't cook good. This is yuck. This doesn't taste good. So they go buy the box again, or the already cooked, the frozen lasagna or whatever. And then they think that it is, you know, it's made better. It's cooked. Those people know how to make it. So why would you mess around and go try and make it yourself when you're not as good a cook? But it's not that you're not as good a cook. They just add a lot of flavorings and stuff to make it taste better to you. But it's because it's not as healthy, because they want you to get cancer and stuff like that. So they want you to get sick. So, you know, they give it a lot of flavor, so you go and get it. But, you know, I mean, I've said that before. As a nurse, even, like when we sit there and do the history for the patients and shit, and now to realize, you know, I mean, we were asking all the wrong questions, but, you know, that's what administrators are not looking for, the right questions. They're not looking for people to get better. They're looking for people to get sick and get surgeries and not like themselves and take drugs and drink a lot and destroy their health. And everything like that. So, it's counterproductive for them to help us get better. But the one thing too is why I can't even handle going on there. It's like every motherfucking video is the goddamn sub, and it's irritating. Everybody's done tons of research about the people on it. There's so much research. You can go out. There's video after video after video, and so you have all of those people. So now that the thing has supposedly blown up, which, oh my God, what a crock of shit. Yeah, okay. And then where's the airplane from the building? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it blew up. This is so fucking stupid. Just like the goddamn space shuttle blew up. Okay. So, oh God. But people all believe it. They won't believe it. Some conspiracy people are being like, yeah, right. But there's people still having real conversations. And, but the good news is out of it is that the people who are asleep are outraged. They're very upset because they think that the other people are being so callous and not caring and stuff. I don't know what's going on because I just go past those videos as fast as I can. I'm so sick of hearing about the goddamn submarine. That there's some people that are making fun of it, and that these people disintegrated in the bottom of the ocean with this, the whole thing is so absurd and ridiculous, but it is waking those people up to being very outraged. They're very, supposedly there's a huge group of people that are very upset, and I have seen some of their videos, like, I can't believe you guys are so heartless. So, that's, get them on board. Maybe one of these billionaires are going to walk out on the stage and it's going to shock the shit out of the people or something. Like, I don't know what's to come. We've got this stage set. Like, that was, if you haven't seen the footage of McCarthy, he's really, pulling in, I think. I'm really thinking he's definitely one of the good guys. And all of that to get him in there was some drama. It's so curious to watch how all this stuff plays out over who's good and who's bad and who's undercover. There's like such like everything is espionage. And so everything is conspiracy. And so, but on the House floor or whatever. You know what, too? Just the fact with his House, the Senate, all this shit, just to build bigger government. The bigger that the country goes, that's just all they wanted to do is just put more control over us, and to the point where it started being like too much. And also, I think that it is a little bit like when you get so many gangsters. Like, even if you watch the Highway Strangler, the movie, I lived in California. I lived in California where there was 3 serial killers. When I lived in Dallas, there was, I think, 3 too. Everywhere I've lived, there's always been a serial killer. Oh, there must be one over here then. But they just haven't caught him, because everywhere I've lived, there's always been a serial killer. A big one. Well, I guess, if you want to count the Green River, but I've lived in the places where it was actively going on. There's someone going around killing 3 different ones. But anyway, so in California, and it was very scary that one time when I did have the one car that was broke down all the time. And I was going to clothing design school. I was going to the Institute of Fashion and Design in LA, and I lived in Orange County. And so I would have to drive in to go to school. And I had this Mustang, but it wasn't the old kind, it was the newer kind, and it had all of the whatever kind of intakes and whatever bullshit that they do to, when it was just the old-fashioned carburetor and stuff, we didn't have all these fucking problems with cars. And so it was just like one problem after another, but I break down on the highway. And this one time when I did, and it just so happened that there was a place I could pull, and this guy pulled in right behind me and started trying to get me to go with him. And then a cop pulled in behind him, and then he sped off real fast. I was like, that is so creepy. I had guys follow me. Like, when I was driving from Hollywood to Orange County. It was a long highway, drive a lot. I had guys follow me. Like, it was creepy. Follow you, try and get you to pull over and stuff. But that one was really scary on that. The other scariest one I had too was I was driving back. It was night. So I was at Hollywood and I was driving, and I was on, not the PCH. I was on the, what was that one called? I can't think of the name of the highway, but I was, and somebody was pointing one of those red laser lights. And I saw it coming through my back of my thing, and I saw it hitting, and I was like, what in the hell is that? And then I was seeing it was like hitting, like they were pointing it towards my head. And that really freaked me out. I started like driving crazy, I think I pulled over and went to a 7-Eleven or something. And so I don't know if it was just people messing around or if it was people who really were out, just killing people for fun. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't in California. A lot of people kill people for fun. But so McCarthy, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about these big cities where dark energy can take over, because it gives a playground for people who are attached to that dark energy to, go do that. And then it creates more of that dark energy when they speak to that dark energy through frequency. And I can really see how people get their heads into it being demons and devils. I just don't see this as being conscious energy that is conscious and out there, incarnating. Like, no, it doesn't make any sense. And but they have ways of, controlling, because it's through the mind control thing. And they've done so many studies from that, and it's in their CIA disclosure files. I haven't gone in and read them or anything like that. It's just because I can just see stuff. Just like, it's exhausting sometimes. Like, it's constant. It's not just like, it's constant. You could see somebody in a store, and you can just see all this stuff. Like, it just is. So anyways, it's tiring, kind of. And I swear to God, I don't know if it is the new moon thing. It's this week, I guess the moon's supposed to be going full. I don't know exactly what date, because the parasite cleanse thing. And the parasite cleanse thing is weird, because then there's like, do 10 days before the full moon, 10 days after the full moon, take 10 days off, and then do it again. Well, then the next full moon, I don't take that much diatomaceous earth. I take it, I may take one, like I took one yesterday, as I was, I felt like really attacked. Okay, I haven't even finished. I'll have to go back to the Joe thing and McCarthy and stuff. I'll finish this real quick, because when I was outside, we went on a long ass walk yesterday. Boy, she's just really going in. She walks me. I don't try and make her go unless I get fed up and want to go back home, or try and keep her out of people's yards. But, she just kind of tracks around, goes where she wants. And we did the whole circle yesterday, the neighborhood circle, which I always dread because of all the other dogs. And I'm just like, I don't want a dog fight out in the middle of the street, because everybody's always intimidated by Stella, but she's not a fighter, and she's not mean, and she's sweet, but she's big and she's loud, and she's got a huge mouth, and people are scared of her. So, but she did get see a couple people. Was one, she pooped in this person's yard. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. So I'm trying to get a little bag out, and the guy's garage starts opening. So I thought he was coming out to tell me, you better get that poop, because I've had that happen. But I don't think he even saw us. And so as he's goes up to his can, he's coming to throw some trash away, and all the cans are out because it's trash day. And he saw me, and I said, oh, can I put this in your trash? And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And says, that's a big dog. And so we go over there, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, is she nice? And I'm like, yeah, but she always will go up and bark really loud in people's faces. And I think it's to let him know, she's, don't fuck around. And so she did that. And then the guy, he got flustered and he started taking his trash can back to the house. And we start walking off and I said something to him. And then he was like, comes out, he goes, oh, that really scared me. Like, still really scared him. So it really threw him. So he started taking his trash back in and it hadn't come yet. So anyways, but it was supposed to be really, really sunny. And I'm in here. I was sitting outside for a long while, but I was being so attacked by the bugs and stuff. And there are ones I can't even see. And then these flies. It's like, are they programming the flies to attack us? Like, what in the holy hell? These fucking flies. It's like you've got a whole goddamn wilderness, but you have got only this right here. This is all you got to go. Right here is just my fucking face and my fucking legs. And, oh, man, I was getting so mad. And big old giant fucking horseflies, too. These big motherfuckers, and they're loud, and they just get right on you and sit and stare at you like, what you gonna do? It's like, fuck off, bitch. And so I'm out there fighting with the motherfucking flies. And these little things that come and land on you, and they feel like little bites. You feel like these little bites, but there's nothing there. And so then later we went outside, and I was, because she was just harassing me. So, okay, I'll go do the water in the garden. So we go out there, and I'm looking at the sky. I'm like, well, the sky sure took a turn. What in the holy hell is this? And the sky is this like a weird color. It's got more than one. It's got a couple layers. And earlier it was just clear blue sky. And so it has all this weird stuff, and it's like moving weird. The whole thing just looked weird. So I'm just sitting there looking at it going, this is weird. And then it starts sprinkling. And then so it's sprinkling. So I even walk in, look at my phone, because I'd already got the cushions out and everything. And so I go look at my phone, and it's not supposed to be raining it doesn't even have rain on our thing at all. Oh, wait, no, there's a day, I think 4 or 5 days away. It's supposed to rain, 30% chance. So it's just supposed to be sun. So it's just sprinkling. So then I'm like, okay, so now are they just dripping fucking acid on us? Nothing was burning or anything. But I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, this is some nonsense. Like, where is it coming from? And so it kept sprinkling and sprinkling and sprinkling and sprinkling and sprinkling. And then finally it stopped. I don't know for how long it did it. I think I just came in. But it did it for a while. But so when I was sitting here in the evening, I started feeling all of these, like, and this really got me too, because the other day I was sitting outside, and I'm sitting on the recliner chair thing with a swimsuit on, I think. What was it? Because I saw this thing so clear, and I was like, what in the is this? Is this one of the morgues? Like, what in the hell? And it was like this little, it was like a worm, but it wasn't wiggly. It was just like more like straight and stuck, like it couldn't move, but so thin, like a piece of hair, but it could like jolt itself. And so I don't remember how, all of a sudden I saw it was on my hand. And so I was like, what in the hell is this thing? And so then it did some kind of a jolt or jump or something. And I was like, oh my God, it's fucking alive. And so that freaked me out. Oh no, that was sitting right here in this chair. That's what it was. Because I went and got the vacuum and vacuumed. And I was like, what in the fuck? And so that freaked me out. And then so I'm sitting here after these sprinkles and shit, and you know, and all the times of sitting out there and feeling these things like biting me. And so sitting in here, and all of a sudden I start getting all these like it felt like there's bugs in my ears. I don't know how else to explain it, but I think it's like like when you're on the airplane and the pressure changes, it seems like it's like pressure changing in my ears, but it feels like things crawling around in there. And then I started feeling like these things crawling around. It was going so much. I could feel something crawl across and try and go into my eye. And I was like grabbing, and I was doing this, and there was so many things that were going, and I feel something like go up in my nose. I was growing. I was like trying to blow. I was trying to, it was weird. And I'm feeling all these things. I'm thinking, okay, either I'm going fucking crazy or I'm goddamn being attacked. And so, I was like, because you got to constantly be putting your mind into this, keeping your sanity through this stuff. I can see where people who don't have any, to me, it's kind of like living in a haunted house, and you have people that believe in ghosts and people who don't. And so we're all living in the haunted house, and the people who believe in ghosts are having a very different experience than the people who don't believe in ghosts. And so, those of us who believe in ghosts have the awareness of some of this stuff, then it is, and then that guy's showing that, spitting out that stuff of how much is really in the mouth, and so much stuff about these nanos, and so much stuff, like so many videos. And so then, so while I'm sitting here and I start feeling all of these like little like jabs or some little like pinpricks or something. And so then it's like, oh my gosh. So they're using this ear has been killing me too. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I'm so scared to even pour peroxide in. I'm scared there's going to be something come out. And then I'm like, okay, don't be ridiculous. It couldn't be in something in both. And so, but so the frequency, like I said, excites like plastic particles. And so I had noticed before, like wearing something or laying on something, and it would be like I was feeling like I was getting pricked, and I was thinking, okay, this has got to be like the plastic particles are excited, so from the frequency. And so then it was like, okay, so is that something with the frequency to overstimulate our nerves and make it feel like we're getting pinpricked? Or is it they just rained these little bot things down on us, and now they're burrowing in, trying to get inside of me, trying to crawl inside my goddamn eyes and nose all over the fucking place. I'm sitting here grabbing, like, what in the hell is going on? It was so crazy. And so then I was so frustrated. I just pulled all my energy in to myself and pulled it into that heart center, which mine has been going crazy. But pulled it all in and then yelled out from there. And I said, I do not consent. Whatever you little bot things are, get the fuck out of me. I was screaming that out inside of me. And then it all stopped. And then I felt, I felt better, but it's still, it's like something weird about this. And, I don't know, all this shit. I'm just so fed up with it. Fed up with how this shit just drags. But anyways, yeah, back to Joe. So I was really excited about McCarthy. So if you didn't get to see that hearing thing, it's cool because you get to hear how corrupt all those motherfuckers are. He's trying to put in like impeachment on Joe or something, and they're all, no, please, It's like, because they know they're fucking going down. They know this is it. You bitches, you're done. But what a show, man. It's ridiculous. Who even knows? If all we know is just him standing up at the podium, and the rest is just a laugh track that they created to, is all there's so much just bullshit that's just created, like the whole submarine thing. Like, let's just do this out of the blue. But so the thing about that is that was what started the money system. Was when J.P. Morgan got control, because all of the people who were trying to change the money system, he had him on that boat. Then he didn't go. He gave his tickets to somebody else. And so he killed them all. He killed the competition. And so now as the banking system is ending, the correlation is this pretend submarine called Ocean Gate, that you are just trapped inside, sealed inside like a goddamn coffin, and go down to the bottom of the ocean, because apparently people who have a lot of money don't have a lot of brains, and then go down in there to go through. I guess there must have been windows in the thing, so that they could look at the Titanic from the inside. I don't know what the hell the whole premise is, but for these billionaires supposedly to be blown up or something, it's kind of like the going full circle. So everything is going full circle. So it's leading. Oh, see, it really is heavy now. It's leading us back to the money thing. So it's leading us back into the and I'm trying to change my part. I decided. I kept on doing it like over more there, but it was making this side always have this piece of hair that was, especially as these ones were growing more, that this kept being separated. And I was like, maybe I just change the part. That I've changed the part before. It's not like a there, because I changed it to the whole other side. But then I was like, why don't I just go back to the middle? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's weird to be a middle part, an older person with a middle part. I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, I'm going to do it for now. So anyways, but it'll still bug me. It'll still drive me crazy. And it'll make this part not as heavy, because this side is always so heavy. It would always fall. And then this side was so much lighter. So maybe it'll balance it out. But I always thought like I would look strange. I think I had my hair parted in the middle when I was a kid. But then I don't know. It's just as you get older, I just feel like my face became like kind of distorted or something. Like it wasn't in balance, because I feel like more that I've healed, I feel like my face has gone more in balance. Like I feel like even my nose has gone straighter. Like, and that's all by healing. That's just by healing. That's why I'm like, our body represents, our face represents how we feel inside. So if somebody looks angry and mad and bitter, they have those things inside of them they need to heal. And if they're masking and trying to pretend like everything's fine, it's because they're insecure and they just want to be accepted. And they just want somebody to love and appreciate them. And they feel like they can't even be their real selves to get love. And that's sad. We got a sad world out there, you know? So anyways, but I do feel like yesterday I parted it. I even did 2 braids. And, you know, I always do the other kind of braids, like loose. I don't know. I think they're called Indian braids or something is what. But that is the kind I like. I don't, the real tight ones or whatever. But so I put it in braids yesterday to kind of get it to be used to it. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anytime you change your part, it's always weird. So I don't know. Maybe it looks weird. I don't care. I'm talking about it too much anyways. So, but McCarthy put in for, supposedly it's voted yay for impeach. So they're going to start that whole thing. But the thing with it is, so we're seeing is so all the stuff about Joe and this money and this misrepresentation, all this corruption and stuff with Hunter and all that stuff coming out, then showing the double standard in the judicial, showing the media not covering, not telling the truth, showing the social media hiding and censoring the truth. So showing all of these things, see, are what is being exposed for each time a criminal thing is shown, you know, and they keep having one after another. And so, I mean, we can see that going on. So something is happening. So we can't say, oh, well, nothing's happening. You know, it's not happening as fast as we want. We're not to the place we want to be yet, but, you know, we're still movement. As slow as it is, it's still movement. And, but you can see, you know, that the conversation about Joe has turned. So there's a turn that is happening. And so, but the misrepresentation of the money thing, this whole thing about the billionaires and the Titanic and the banking thing, Chase now being caught red-handed with paying off Jeffrey's clients or the people who were going to narc him out, paying those people off, all this big old blackmail system and espionage, like all these criminals. But see, that's the dark energy. That's what these souls are here to do, these experiences and learn from them. And this is where you can do that. This is to me, it's hell. I think it's hellacious. It's so, and it's the people. It's the darkness. It's I mean, it seems like to me that people choose the dark a lot. And it's weird. It's like our whole society, is kind of just gone so dark. Like, I mean, the whole thing with women and girls and stuff, like, I keep seeing this footage of this one woman who was telling her infant, setting boundaries over her belly button, and the baby's not allowed to touch it. And just this whole way of like, kind of like, when I was younger, there was like women who, especially back then, it was like the Marian type of woman, a guy would want the Marian type of woman would have been one that had that nurturing sense. When a guy was looking at a woman, it would be, somebody who would raise his kids, somebody who he thought would, be a good mom. And so it was kind of like, what guys would look for until something switched. I don't know, in the 80s or 90s, where it was just like they just wanted the hottest woman in the room, and then all of a sudden you have her and you're like, oh my God, what a pain in the ass she is. Because it's not about that. It's about connection. It's not about just trying to find somebody you think looks good. It's about finding somebody who you are in connection with. And then, of course, you're going to think they look good because you're connected. But people don't go that deep. They don't even give people a chance if they don't think that they look good. And then plus, how refined, I mean, how many times do you hear people, well, yeah, she's pretty except for that, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, she's pretty except, yeah, she's pretty except for this. If she was just a little more this, it's like, Jesus Christ, what a bunch of picky people we've become. Like, we can't even appreciate beauty without having to tear it apart somehow. We have to not acknowledge, like, we don't even want to see beauty. We don't even want to see pleasant, So, anyways, what was I going to say? Because it still is like the Titanic thing. But that to me is a good sign, if we're reading the signs about the bank thing and the money thing, that showing kind of like that it's ending, like the banking is ending or something, which it is. But, and I hope this is the weekend. I swear to God. I just really hope that this is the weekend. And what was that too? Because it was oh yeah. This one daughter was just sending me some messages, and because I sent her a few TikToks this morning, so I don't even know what she's gonna say these ones. But yesterday I sent this one, and it was just like a picture. It wasn't like a video, and it was that now that the globe is no longer considered the globe. That in courts now they've said there's no proof that we live on a globe, so that's no longer, we're going to say that there's a globe. And but the news isn't going to make those announcements and stuff. Like, they want people to wake up to that shit. And when I even started talking about the flat earth, it was like 2016, it was all the way back when I was waking up, and I was talking about human rights. I was talking about like the changes were coming and all of those things. But whatever it was. I was talking about it then, and they all thought I was crazy. And I talked a lot about the aliens, I think, too, because that was something that even one of my brothers brought up. So I think I talked a lot about the aliens. Like I knew that we're going to find out that, the aliens are where we came from. So anyways, I don't know what I was saying back then, but everybody thought it was crazy. And so the flat earth thing, that was crazy. And so anyways, that little video thing, I just sent it to my daughter. I wanted to see what her reaction would be. And she said, LOL, that's real funny. And I'm not talking about this or something like that. And I said, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about with it, but just be prepared for when you're going to be real shocked when the world's going to flip upside down. I keep trying to get this in her head because I really feel like, man, she is really, man. So I'm sure all my daughters are going to, like, there's so much of this reality that they don't see. And I'm just like, well, question reality more. Just question things. I said, go watch. She's never even watched The Truman Show. I've told her so many times, watch The Truman Show. And maybe it will click something in your head. It clicks a lot of people's heads. So it's like, watch The Truman Show. And I don't think she has still. But, people got to realize, like, we're in a habitat. We're in a controlled habitat. This isn't real. And everything that they tell you about this place is a lie. So, that is going to be the thing, though, when this awakening happens, that is going to be the hard part on people. Because that they didn't see it. And then you can see all of the effects is all going to be about ego. And all these people who have been in their ego, all these people who think they're so right, they're so smart. Oh, you crazy, you poor old crazy person. Just keep your old flat earth stuff to yourself and stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm just trying to get you to realize that this place isn't what you think it is. And, but it's very, very stuck in the 3D of programming, I don't know what else to call it. And so, I don't know. I really hope it's this weekend. And I say that every goddamn weekend. And it's so disappointing. I got to quit setting up my expectation. I try not to have expectation, but it's difficult through this. Like, these are my challenges, that get up and, the same thing, go in. You're constantly being censored. But you have all this stuff that you got to go in there and talk about. And it's not like, it's not like I could just sit here today and not do it. I would be harassed. Like, I would, it's like, I got to go in and do it. That's the thing. It's like, I have to do what I'm, like, motivated to do. But it's the part of it, that part of, like, feeling like, well, what's the point? But then it's like you're questioning the universe. So then it's like, they know what the point is. They know when the point will be made or whatever. It's not for me to decide. And so, I got to just go with the flow or whatever. So I just think that when you are going towards your stuff, especially for mine, my family thinks I'm crazy, I'm nuts, and I'm trying to do this, trying to do whatever. And, they don't see. And so it's not like, I have any kind of conversations. If I were to say, like, anytime I've said anything about censorship, they don't even believe censorship is real. They think I'm just saying that. I'm just, crazy and nobody wants to hear what I have to say, and, get over it, Mom. And so, I can't talk. They would just be like, well, just stop what you're doing. Just come over here, get a little apartment, move over here next to us, and just, visit us, go out. It's so weird when people want to define how you should live your life. And the thing is, to me, is like about judgment, because this was on my mind this morning too, was about judgment. Because a lot of times while I'm doing this too, and I'll feel judgy, I'll feel like I'm pointing things out, looking at things, and I feel judgy, and it is it's uncomfortable. It's a burden. It feels like a burden and stuff, but it is important because you have to see the stuff. So it has to be pointed out. That is how change is created. So the stuff has to be pointed out, but it feels like to me while I'm doing it, I'll feel judgy. And so to me, like what I was being shown was, so the judgment part is, it's not to notice, it's not to reflect on, it's not to to acknowledge. That's not judgment. Judgment is when you go in and you try and alter, you try and what they're doing, they don't know, and they need to do what you say. You know better for them what they need to do. That's judgment. As when we step over that line, like, you don't know what you're doing, you're too dumb, we that's our ego. As when we think that we can do better for somebody. And that is something as a parent, that is a part of the learning in parenting, is that stepping back and letting the kids make their own mistakes and suffer their own consequences so that they can grow, and not just being in there and being in control and trying to force them and change them into what we want them to do. And another thing too, so I was watching this movie yesterday. My daughter told me I had a couple of recommendations, these true story things. I love these, and this one is on Peacock, and but it is the Jan Broberg story. And so I was like, I don't know who the hell that is. Once you start hearing the story, then you're like, oh, I know this story. I remember this story. This story's fucking crazy. And so that one, and then the other one, there's a third one on the candy that's supposed to be really good, so I'll watch that one too. This one, though, isn't just a movie, it's a miniseries, plus they have a documentary on it too. But so it went into this pool of other things about consent and abuse and children and all of this stuff. And it was very different in the 70s and stuff. Even when the cops came to talk to the parents, and the psychiatrist went and told them that he was a pedo, and they were like, what was that? Only they said the whole word. And the cops didn't know what it was. The people didn't know what it was. And this was in 74, 76. And nobody knew what it was. Even the psychiatrist wasn't quite sure. He was just trying to figure it out. But he just knew that he was obsessed and attracted to this child. And he had this as a pattern of behavior. And that's what it was called. And so it was concerning, but nobody knew what it was. And then when the girl comes back and they just ask her, well, she's already been groomed. She's already been, he's already put the pressure on her, People are going to evaporate if she tells them. He did this whole elaborate story. He set up this whole creepy thing when he kidnapped her, that they were kidnapped together by aliens, and that they were forced to procreate to save this alien planet. And these aliens would come on and talk on this radio, on this RV and stuff. And this little girl, she thought it was all real. She was convinced. She was 12 when it first happened. And he had crossed so many lines. He had spent 2 years grooming the entire family. He had started a sexual relationship with the mom and the dad. So he was, and that was all just to get them to let him do what he wanted, because he would tell what they did. So it was all manipulation and stuff. But see, this is the darkness where this stuff can play out. But it's not just the acts that are being played out. It's these relationships. That's what the soul is experiencing. It is experiencing lust, but also deceit, being, all of those things is how you learn and expand. And so every sick story that we hear, there's, is those souls story, we can't sit back and judge and be like, well, you shouldn't have done it that way. I mean, look at, there's things that go on that, it's pretty creative, really. Like, some of the horrible stuff is pretty creative. So, yeah, I don't know. But, anyways, but it really had me thinking about, when they are sitting here talking about, like, kids need to go and change their gender and stuff like that. So, a 7-year-old is coming and saying, I think I'm a boy, I think I'm a girl. And then when you hear these detransitioner stories, like, it's so tragic, man. Like, these parents now, but even the parents' insecurity, it's the system that puts so much pressure on them. All these people, like, they didn't even have to go in for a consultation. They were put on hormones just by, it's practically drive-through. And so much of it was just like insecurity. It's such nonsense. It's just so disgusting, but is what, anybody who's weak-minded, they will take control of your mind here. And so but I was like, a child, it's hormones, because this guy is, he's drugging this little girl. And even when she's 14, at that point, she was so brainwashed that she was like desperate to be with him. She wanted to marry him and stuff. She was having a fit to her parents because she wanted to go marry this old guy. And he was making, like, they were saving this other planet and how important they were and all this stuff. And so, but I was thinking, like, she's not getting pregnant, that's the whole thing. And this is in the 70s. And a lot of girls, you didn't start your period until you're like 15, 16 years old. 14 probably was the soonest. And so, does she not even know? Like, maybe she doesn't know, because in the alien voice people, or him with his alien voice, he said that the man subject will show you what to do. It's so sad. And so, so he's doing it with her and doing it with her and doing it with her, and she's not getting pregnant. So, like, she hadn't started her period, so she doesn't have hormones, so she has no attraction. It's hormones is when kids start becoming attracted. So therefore, kids can't even make consent, because what are they making consent on? So a 12-year-old can't be like, yeah, I'm so attracted to them. I just love them. I just want to do it with them, because they don't even have hormones. What is it based on? So how would it be? And so then when you have 7-year-olds deciding these things and stuff, how are they deciding when they're prepubescent? They don't even have hormones. They don't have anything to get them to be thinking in that direction. It's like they're just interfering so much. But it seems like people need to start noticing, like, kids can't, why would we even be talking about age of consent? There should not be any age of consent. Prepubescent, like, you have to have hormones to be making consent on something. You have to desire doing it to consent to doing it. Otherwise, it is a crime. You are pushing what you want on somebody who doesn't want that. And so there's, I don't even know how these discussions can even keep going. It's kind of like the government wants us just to argue over something that's ridiculous. We're going to argue over what age is consent. Like, oh, well, I've got 12 years old, that they can do it if they want to do it. But it's got to be someone within 5 years of their age. And they're changing all this stuff. And they're making it with the age of consent. And it's about work. They got fucking 10-year-olds working in some places at night. Yeah. Pretty soon you have these moms who can't even get up. Like, you can't touch their bodies. You can't do anything. They're the opposite of the nurturer. They're the opposite of a feminine. I don't even know. It's like this created, programmed creature or something that's very comfortable with itself to be, get this tumor out of me, this growth, oh, and how great my hair is from my abortion. And, it's like sick world. that we have got going with these women. Like, and that's what I'm saying is, like, when they see the truth, there's gonna be some, I think, that it's gonna be so overwhelming that it's just gonna be like, can't handle it. I mean, you got people who can't handle shit, man. Fuck. Goddamn, people are losing their goddamn minds over every little fucking thing. So yeah, they can't handle. This is gonna be like fucking dramatic when it goes, and it's got to be right on the edge, because once Joe goes, I mean, it's already out there. Trump has been the whole time, and it is but he could only be in control of the people who would listen to him, and that's the army, the military, and the Congress and all them. They're all corrupt, and they're all going down, and so all of the whole government system is going to be crashing. And I thought Kevin made that, like, when they're all cheering, is like, well, we're gonna be the ones cheering because y'all are all going down, motherfuckers. So they're all going out. And but when that goes, which it could be, and it's going to go with the money thing, is they've got it so tied in together, the money and Joe. And that is what I had heard all the way back. And this is one thing too, is like, people need to be more well-rounded. Like, Juan O'Sullivan was talking about the MAGA thing all the way back, about what the MAGA really was, and about the magnetism, and about the energy, and about like all sorts of stuff. There was so much information. Same with Charlie Ward. When you listen to him, there was so much information. And then, so when I see these people out talking, and they didn't listen to any of this background stuff. They're just deciding for how they feel right now and what they think and all that. And they're going in and passing it around and saying that this is what it is. And, the whole thing with MAGA now is Satan. Trump is a head Satan person or some nonsense bullshit. And we can't trust them and all this stuff. And it's like, these people are also paranoid. But see, if they weren't just stuck, whatever they woke up to, they got stuck. A lot of people, it seems that they woke up and got stuck on that they're the chosen ones because they woke up. And so they're chosen, and they're just so in their ego. And so those ones, they've got all that ego stuff. I mean, the ones that aren't working through it before the switch happens, that's ego stuff. All the ones that are, all the people who think they're going to be raptured, when they don't get raptured, is going to be ego stuff. That's going to be the same thing about the chosen ones. So that's all going to be ego stuff. It's all dark night. That's your whole world, everything you thought just collapsed. And this is why I keep trying to get my daughter to realize, because she's so attached to that old world, and it's going to collapse. I keep trying to get her to just open her mind a little. Hopefully I have, because it's going to be so dramatic. And these people, like those women who think they're so progressive and so liberal and so feminist and stuff like that. And when they realize that what they were doing was, it's like they're following the dark. They're going in the dark. And when they see that, when the light is shown to them and they see, then it's going to feel very naked to come out into the light. It's going to feel very exposed, because they've humiliated themselves through their own behaviors and their own attitudes. And so it's going to be, that's all ego stuff. It's like that whole group, all ego stuff. All these different groups, when you look at what is going on, it's all going to be this giant collapse of everyone's ego at once. And so when it goes, it's going to be very humbling, like I've said. But it is going to be like hard for some people to come out of the dark. They're going to feel so exposed, and they're going to be so humiliated because they're so in ego already. They already think that they are, all these people are all in the chosen one attitude. They all think that they're better than the opposing group. And so they all, but that is why it's going to happen. It's like a leveling. It's like the soul has to see itself. You're not better than somebody else. We're all equal. we are all a part of God. It doesn't matter what the experiencer is experiencing. It's what God wants to experience. It's what God wants to experience all things. God doesn't want to, play it safe. God wants to go out and experience all things. And God has the ability to fractal out into millions and billions of pieces to experience. And I think all of us as fractals, as beings, as we have the ability as consciousness to become a creator of our own. But we have this, this growth that we have to accomplish. And I think that, although it's an ascension, I think that is going to be different levels of ascension, different levels of how far each soul is able to maintain its own development in its own power of enlightenment, to be able to see is about seeing itself more clear, but about knowing itself, to be able to understand itself. When you're looking at yourself through others' eyes, you only are seeing yourself through others. You're not ever seeing yourself through your own eyes. And so that is why it's that kind of like a journey, but it's a development in order to see yourself through your own eyes. And so it's the awakening part is the awareness, where you start noticing how you are seeing yourself through others, or questioning yourself why you do something. What is your motivation? Who are you trying to please? Are you pleasing yourself? Are you trying to find yourself and heal yourself? Or are you focused on others? Are you distracting yourself from your own pain and suffering by focusing on someone else's? And that gets out of balance too, because then, it can get me thinking, there's so many ways, like I can see, there's a lot of ways it can go out of balance. So, if you're doing that kind of thing, like ignoring your own stuff because you're so busy saving somebody else, it is very out of balance, and it can turn really toxic really easy in a lot of different ways. And so, but it's not like you're doing something wrong or shame on you. It's that for you, the individual, to recognize and notice and make the changes for yourself, so that you start living in a more productive, clean, and healthy way, so that you are just it's kind of like there's enough noise in here without having to add everybody else's in. And that is what I thought, for our girl from the system who has come into our family, that she that was something that I really had picked up on, is all the voices in her head that aren't hers, that she's trying to please, but they aren't even there. They're not even right there. The voices in your head you're trying to please are old messaging. It's not even current. And then so many people are stayed trapped back 15, 20 years from something said, and it's not even current information. Even if somebody hurt your feelings 10 or 15 years ago, and you went and saw them now, it's more than likely they would have a completely different attitude. They've probably grown themselves through that time, hopefully. But we need each other to grow. We need each other to, I know that there's a lot of older people who are, not good parents, they were never taught to be good parents. They thought they were doing better just by improving how their parents were. And so they, a lot of them thought they were being really good parents and being the parents they wish they would have had. And then they had kids that didn't appreciate them. And so it just led to a lot of confusion and anger and resentment. And they could never do anything right. They couldn't do anything right for their parents, and now they can't do anything right for their kids. And the kids need to see that that is just extenuating the trauma. In order to fix, you've come to kind of buffer your parent, the person ahead. And no matter what level, like, you don't have to go beyond what you're comfortable with. I mean, maybe the person is so toxic and abusive that you can't even be around them. And you have to do it all through like telepathy and engagement through visual in order to heal or let go of things or whatever. And you can send a parent love and messages and stuff through direct energy focus. So even if you aren't, but see, it takes forgiveness, because if you're holding on to what this person did to you all that time ago, then you all that energy is directed and holding on to it. And so, you have to get to your own, where you're comfortable so that you can, to me, it's kind of like helping. It's kind of like when you pray for somebody. So it's kind of like on that same kind of level. So you would kind of, take a time. It could be like 10 seconds. It doesn't have to be a long time. You can do it through visual. You can do it through words. You can do it through however you approach life. But you can send love, send healing, send clarity, or ones that I feel are kind of, you're not interfering with somebody. But when you send those energies, the universe will take that energy and it will like play situations out to help them grow. It really does help. So even if you think you're not doing anything, you are doing something by just directly sending love or whatever. Maybe it is just, every day send a positive message with your mind to them that you do appreciate the challenges. It's going to make me cry. The challenges that they had to meet being the parent. Because you got to remember, these are abused people that were trying to figure out how to be a parent, and there wasn't anybody talking about it. There wasn't anybody telling or explaining it. And so they're just trying to guess. They're just trying to do, trying to follow the rules, and also trying to, make improvements. And some, they like in that one movie, the one that I was just talking about a couple weeks ago, where Anthony Hopkins is the dad, and in that movie they were showing, because it had Laura Dern, it had but in this, Hugh Jackman talking to his dad, Anthony Hopkins, and the dad was abusive, and so they're having this talk, and the Hugh Jackman character is very much, kind of not in the house. He's always out working, but he thinks he's doing good because he's not being like how his dad was. And so in this argument, that is, most people feel that they are improving, that they're, well, at least I'm not like you. At least I'm not going up and hitting them in the face every day. Shit like that. So it can be just something small like that. Yeah, well, at least I'm better than you. I'm going and just slap them. So all those things where somebody feels like they've made an improvement, but on the little finer details that they are unaware of. And those are very difficult. Those are things like right now, people don't see them. So to think that these people should have all this understanding when they don't even have the background, they don't have the reference. And so, but the people who do, you have it so that you can help others. So you have this ability to do something for helping your parent heal, or your abuser, or whatever. And I'm not saying, because this can be, somebody can be like, well, my person is so abusive, but I got to just go and heal it. If you're in danger of abuse, you don't go into a dangerous situation like that to try and, you got to recognize that situation. It is more of like cutting people totally, like so many people are just cutting people totally out of their life. So many people are cutting their parents totally out of their life. And it's really sad when I hear these people saying that, because I know so many of these older people and are in pain over it. They really feel like, they were just trying to be a good parent. They were a horrible child. They were shamed as a child, and now they're shamed as a parent. They just feel like the ultimate failure. And so, yeah, it does lash out in anger and bitterness and all of those things. Some of them may drink a lot. It's all of those things of feeling like a failure. And so, you know, uh, but, getting together just on those holiday things, just getting together on a birthday, taking a birthday gift over and, say, do a nice gesture. As soon as the conversation turns sour, then just go. Set your boundaries. Have boundaries. That will, in turn, help that person begin to develop. And it can be sloppy. They can try and be like, well, then you just leave when you want to, so I'm just going to too. Like, it can be very, you just got to be the bigger person. You got to be more patient. You got to be more healed and be like, okay, well, they're not there yet. Eventually, hopefully they will get to a point where they can have a conversation and be vulnerable and be honest and not shame me and not put me down and not make me feel bad about myself. But I'm not going to sit and listen to somebody who's, in so much pain themselves and takes anything that they say to heart. I mean, that person is struggling, so they're struggling to survive and lashing out. So don't take how they look at things as how you need to look at things. That's looking through someone else's vision. You need to see outside of how they see things. And if they've convinced you that you are, this horrible, worthless person, then it's your journey to realize your own value. Because something important is you don't need anybody in this world to love you. Only person you need to love you is you. And that's the person that's going to hurt the most if you don't love yourself, because you're going to have yourself in dramas and traumas and crises, and you're not taking good care of yourself. Your health will suffer, your relationships will suffer. So it's really important to acknowledge yourself, recognize yourself, be vulnerable with yourself, and really spend time on your own personal growth and keep your nose out of everybody else's business. It's one thing to recognize and to see and be like, well, fuck, I don't want to do that. God damn, that didn't go so well, did it? But it's another thing to go and start telling them that they're wrong, they're stupid, they shouldn't do this, they need to do what you know because you're smarter. That's when you cross the line. So, it's okay to recognize and to try and grow and learn from other people's mistakes and, to see. But just don't try and cross the line and try and tell them that they don't have worth or value and that you know better than them, because then that's where you go out of balance. And you got to recognize each soul is in their own level, in their own work plan, their own lesson plan. And they're all on their own thing. And you got to keep in mind, too, that there's people playing parts, and that person can be playing a part so that you get that opportunity to see your own behavior in yourself so that you can heal that. And so, that to me is the big change of living a more peaceful life. Once you start healing, is just start recognizing that things are happening for you to experience so that you can grow or heal or whatever. It's for you. It's for your benefit. It's not for punishment. It's not because the guy in the sky thinks you're a bad and is going to punish you and, probably damn you to hell forever. So that is all, that's all the stories like in The Village, that movie where they would have to tell, but it was this huge creature, and so everybody had to be scared of the creature. It's the same thing. It's just what they do to try and control you, to keep you in the habitat, to keep you under their influence. And so, that's the creation of religion. The disappointment to me is just how many waves of spirituality that have come forward and they grab hold of it and capture it and control it once again. And so, and they're trying to do that right now. I know it's not going to go that way. I know that's going to be a part of the awakening, a part of the ego, a part of the ego death, and a part of letting go of religion and control and moving into independence and freedom of thought, freedom of independence, but you have to be secure. You have to be secure in yourself. If you're not secure in yourself, then you lash out and you're angry at people who don't accept you instead of being secure and not worrying about, you don't have to be accepted by everybody. Like it's really, a sad state of affairs when somebody is going to fall apart because somebody misgenders them or something. Like, I mean, I would hate to be that fragile, to be so concerned about what every single person out there thought of me, and especially strangers. I mean, what a lot of energy to put towards something that doesn't matter. Who fucking cares? And if you are in a community, a part of a community, I mean, that's a part of the big city life, is you don't have that personal attitudes, personal experiences, personal relationships with the people that you interact with. It's just a whole bunch of hodgepodge of people. But when you build community and you are going out, well, then your community will know your gender. You're not going to be misgendered. People will know you want to live life as a girl or a guy or whatever. People will respect it when you find your community. It is, you don't need to go around and be mad because you haven't found your community yet. We all, this is the big shuffle. We're all going to be out there, even with my own kids. I mean, that's a rejection right there. No, we don't want to live in your commune living world. Go find a commune for yourself. Like, no, I'm good. I got my own stuff going on. I just wanted to close that door. Or I needed to see if that door was something I needed to worry about or be concerned about. But every door that closes leads me more towards my own independence and my own value. So I'm not going to be upset. They deserve to go build a commune or go live how they want. It's not. I just was trying to figure out ways that I could try and help as things started changing to get them more on their feet. But, I mean, they've got their own stuff, and that's good. They can go do their own stuff, and I'm going to do my own stuff. I think it's going to kind of surprise them or shock them or something. I think that's going to kind of be hard on them because they all want me to just go and, live the life that they think, the grandma should be living. And I don't look at life as like that. I look at things so much different, especially knowing how things are about to change, how aging and stuff. And I even told them, I said, I told them this a few years ago, I said, once I go into the med bed, I'm going to be like y'all's age. I said, what's that going to be like? Hang out with mom, and she's going to be back being like 30 years old. And I don't think, like, if you're 30 years old, you wouldn't want to, reverse your cells back to like 5 years old. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to reverse you back to being small like a child, but I don't know that there would be enough damage in your cells. I don't know when we start really having, like, where all the damage, I think it's all from the toxins and stuff, just like what that guy said. It's the environment that's aging us and making us sick and killing us. So I don't know. But I just know from the military, the Corey Good ones that he talks about, is that they just can reverse age you 25 years, but it's like it's just your, like, a cellular thing. And so your cells, like my cells, like the wrinkles or whatever, will go away, like loose skin. The implants, they'll come out. They go. The screws that they put in when my shoulder, those would come out. Where they ripped my uterus out and created all this scar tissue in my lower abdomen and stuff. Even my gallbladder, all those things will grow back. The teeth that the dentist broke, those will grow back. All of those things. So your cells reverse back to a healthier, like, homeostasis. And maybe mine will only need to go back like 5 years. I don't know. I don't think it has to go back. It's just going to take you to where your cells are in a really healthy state. But see, there's stuff about healing and about, like, what I was talking about, what they show me about the pain and the why it's there. And so you work out this stuff. And so, yeah, there's going to be something, like, I don't I really think that there has to be, you have to be in a certain state of mind to go into the med beds, I think you have to be, because all this stuff is going to be quantum, and and something about that we do it with the vibration. So, and so there's going to be people who are not, I don't know. It's going to be curious to see. I don't know all the facts. I can't say for sure, but I just heard that it is going to be definitely age reversal kind of thing. I just thought, my girls, they all think like it's, well, mom can go to a nursing home or something like that. To me, my life's just getting started. Things are just about to start taking off. And I've been working on this for a few years, like 2.5 years. I've been working on my account and all of that. And I could see that I started telling all of them back then about, leaving the system, looking for jobs. And I told them all about YouTube videos I saw, like, you're a really good cook, start doing cooking videos, and it will build up and you'll start, you got to follow the direction that is your direction, like something inside of you, a spark inside of you, and you follow that direction towards your future. And but everybody was like, thought I was really wacky, and nobody wanted to do that. But now they're all like trying to figure out like how they can get jobs, and jobs that they don't have to go to work, and so they're all trying to figure that out. And I think it's going to kind of, like the other day when my account started going, I thought, oh, so is it going to go now? It's going to show them like, and it's not like I'm trying to be like, oh, well, you should listen to me, because that's not my attitude. But that is, I feel like sometimes how it comes across. It's not like, oh, well, you should listen to me. You should have done this. Because I don't know what they're supposed to do. It is more of just getting them to open their minds and see, all their judgment and thinking I'm so weird and I'm so crazy and I'm so stupid. And to see things start going positive for me is going to really change their outlook on things. They're going to see things very different. And so, yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to not being looked at as just the crazy moron in the family. But I'm excited, though, about the future just getting started, just because it has nothing to do with age and years and stuff like that. Like being in your 60s to me now is like, it's better. The older you are, the more experience you have, the more you've lived, the more you understand. I do not understand at all. I just saw, there's a lot of these women, a lot of older women who just want young guys. And I saw a video the other day of a young guy talking about it. And he was like, how great it is for the young guys that all these older women want them. And I was just like, I don't understand. Like, why do these women get older and then they're like, oh, I just want to go and get some young guy to have sex with me? Like, that's all you want? That's all you want out of life? I want deeper connection. I want companionship. I want a partner. I want somebody who is interested in adventure the same way I am. Somebody who wants to experience, who wants to learn and grow and create and interact and go out and learn about different people and different cultures and go to different places. Like, I've got, I don't know. I don't share, like, no, I'm not going to just have access to my body. No, my vibrator is pretty damn good. It's fine. It's good to go. I don't need somebody to come. And then plus, I mean, as a woman who's had a lot of sex partners and stuff like that throughout their life, then it is like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. Maybe these women are very demanding. You will do this until it's finished. You will complete the task. I don't know. Maybe there's just a dominatrix surrendering going on. I don't know. I'm not into it. I think it's strange. I have no desire to sit and hang out with And where somebody had says like age doesn't matter. Well, I've married somebody who was 15 years younger. Age matters. It matters a lot to me. And yeah, I don't want to be with somebody who is from a completely different generation. We can't even talk about the same shows. We can't even talk about what kind of things we ate for dinner when we were kids. We can't even talk about, how we see the world. It's completely different. I'm raised on Tom and Jerry, and you're raised on, I don't even know the names of them. Snotty Nose, and I don't even know. So we're totally different worlds. So yeah, I don't, no, I'm not gonna say it was peak performances. What? I don't know. I think that it's fetishy, and I think it's weird, and it's empty, and it's shallow. And I don't think that is the feminist older women. It's not women who are connected to themselves and respect themselves. It's so Las Vegas. I don't know. Just to me, uh, there's a part of the disrespect of people have for themselves that is just so it's like highlighted. It's just so big and bright, kind of like this sun that keeps trying to. So it's supposed to be sunny again today. And I can go outside and get attacked by the morgues. I don't know what the hell these things are they're putting on us. But I'm just going to keep on screaming at these things. If they are putting these little bot things inside of us, and then they're trying to use frequency to control them, to try and control people's minds and stuff, and can animate people without their control of their mind. And then you have people who are just like, well, somebody else is talking in my head. Well, you don't have to do what they say. God damn. Don't do what they say. Get control of your goddamn minds. Man. But anyways, we gotta go through that. We gotta go through all those people who have no control of their minds and all of these inflated egos, and it's going to all turn, and it's all going to crash, and we're going to have all these people in the dark night of the soul at the same time who are ashamed of themselves, who had no idea that they were so dark, and all of that stuff has got to be purged. So anyways, it's going to probably, it's going to be soon, for sure. I mean, they could drag this Joe shit out for 2 more months, that's the word of God. But to me, it seems like there's way too many signs. Trump is out, saying that it's the end, and we won, and all of these kinds of things. So I think that I'm just going to keep on hoping. I don't care, even if it's every weekend. I'm just going to give it all my hope that this weekend is the weekend everything changes, and that we're going to experience big changes with the banking and the governing. But the biggest thing is going to be the knockdown for the people. Getting them knocked down to see the truth. Jesus Christ, I cannot believe I sit there and say stuff to my kids, and then they're still so stuck in the 3D world. So anyways, to me, it's like when my life changed, I felt like I was knocked off the merry-go-round. Like I had been on this cycle, this ride, this current for the same thing for my whole life. And I just kept doing it and doing the same thing. And another shitty relationship, another shitty relationship. And then when the last one, the young guy, when he pushed me out, and I did not see it coming at all. And, he was begging me. I was the one who's saying that we needed to separate. And he was like begging me to stay. And then so anyways, I didn't see it at all. And it felt like I got knocked off a merry-go-round, and I felt injured. And, it was like all my cycles and patterns, I had to see them. And that is what I kind of feel like is going to be for all these people. It is going to be their cycles, their patterns, the way that they chose to accept for their lifestyle is it's going to create so many questions in themselves, and it's going to be it's like their morals. They've got to recognize their lack of, and that they're out there, uh, there's just so much of the backwardness that so many people have to see in themselves. And so, when that goes down and it happens, then that's going to be where all the chaos is going to be. So, and it's got to be super close. I mean, I think it's got to be close. So I don't know. We'll see. So, it seemed like there was something else. There was about Joe or something with somebody. I don't know. I keep seeing different things about different people getting arrested, different things going on in different communities and stuff like that. So to me, everything is being exposed, and we got all the storms, we got all the chaos, we got all the crazy people. Like, there's just so much. There's just so much. So just to me, it's all about the awakening, and it is all about just questioning yourself and doing your growth and realizing that the things happening around you are for your benefit, to help you grow. And if you have certain people that you feel are so toxic that you can't deal with them, don't make it permanent in your mind. Do healing in your mind while you're going, and then that will benefit them too. And hopefully, you can come back together, because who wants to come back and have to redo it again and again and again and again to get over some of this shit? So just do what you can to people do those cutting ties and stuff like that. Cutting ties isn't going to do anything. It's because it's the balance. It's the things that the karma is what we call it. It's what we do back and forth, and it has to be in balance, and each person has to put their own balance. It's not like if your mom doesn't heal, it's going to hold you back. You can still heal, but if you just focus on your healing and ignore her, there's a part of you that won't be able to heal. It's going to still be attached to her. That is like the ties, because you are still attached to her and her trauma, because you haven't healed that. And so you have to step in and heal that stuff so you can really release it. But it's not like you have to heal her. But the biggest part of the healing, from the trauma to the individual, the two people, to me, the biggest thing is just you yourself, just having forgiveness. Just work on your own forgiveness of the person. So that is where you can do that kind of stuff, like through your visualizations, or however you want to process it. And so you can be still healing it without having contact with the person, if you put the focus on the healing. And you could go, I mean, there's books and stuff that can tell you about healing your childhood wounds. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but doing it through visualization and letting go of the judgment you have towards the other person, and realize that they were wounded and injured and they suffer. And so that can relieve you from your bind to them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll heal. They will feel the release of the judgment towards them, but they won't understand what they won't understand it, but they'll feel a relief in the pressure once you relieve it. But they still have all their stuff to heal, because all their wounds from their stuff, they still have to process their stuff. But that is where you are kind of like a role model. So when they start taking it seriously, like they really do want to start processing their stuff, then you can help them by sharing what you've known. But any of these relationships that are very toxic, you have to really set your boundaries. You have to really recognize. Don't go into and cross over to where you're angry and upset with this person and arguing and fighting, because that just keeps this toxic cycle going. Recognize when you are feeling bad or sad and claim it. Say, okay, well, and however you want to claim it, it's your language, it's your conversation, and just claim your truth, and then walk away. Take your time, take your space, go do your process, And then, you know, you don't have to scream and yell and, you know, this is what always happens. I hate you. I'll never speak to you again. All that stuff, because that is all just more shit to get over. So all you gotta do is just say, hey, I gotta go. You know, I'll talk to you later. And then go, and then just reapproach once you've gone through the process. You know, just keep actively trying to do better. Like with Stella, you know, when we started with the walking, you know, she would just go a little ways, but then go a little further, a little further, a little further. Now she's walking, 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 walk for miles. So it is the same thing with your healing and stuff. So it's, you know, do a little and just keep working at it and working at it, and you know, you'll get there. It's just the process, and being open to the process, and aware of your own development, aware of your own goals. You know, where's your ship headed? Where are you headed in your future, in your relationships? Do you really want to cut yourself off from all these people? And do you really want to, you know, those are all just questions to ask yourself and through the healing. And I know there's just so much pressure put on people, you know, just cut everybody out of your life, cut everybody out of your life. I just don't think that's productive. But each person needs to find out for themselves. I can just share how I see things and let, you know, people decide for themselves. So anyways, I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed. Today's the day, and some good's gonna happen. The signs are all around us, you know, so it's coming. We just don't know when or where, but it's coming. So just the resilient, just the no matter how hard it gets, you just keep on going. Just get up and do it another day, even if it's just like, why do I do these, you know? Then just keep going. That's just being resilient. Follow your guidance. Follow what they tell you to do, and not what this crazy world is. It's imploding upon itself. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.